Are you a jellyfish? Perhaps a starfish? Maybe even a terrestrial snail? An individual with no spine whatsoever? Then perhaps running as a Republican politician would be the right move for you. Today, we have 35 spineless jellyfish or perhaps terrestrial snails of a politician in the Republican Party who have voted in favor of a January 6th commission because the Republican Party is a trash party. I tweeted about this and I got a response that, no, it's not that Republicans are losers. It's that the GOP attracts losers. And I thought about it and I was like, if you're an individual who thinks you should lie, cheat, and steal to get political power, well, today, the Democrat Party is the party for you. Now, fortunately for those in the Democratic Party, there is a spine required in being a duplicitous, thieving, conniving, bad person. How about that? At least they have the guts to publicly call for defending violent riots. At least they have the guts to lie to the face of Americans. Republicans, for the most part, few exceptions, sit back and let it all happen. While the Democrats say, I'd like to burn this country to the ground, the Republicans are going, no, wait, don't. Okay, there's a few people I'll give a shout out to. Obviously, Rand Paul. I'm always shouting that guy out because he's a fighter. And you've got Thomas Massie. He's pretty cool. Josh Hawley's good. Ted Cruz. He's all right. And everybody really likes Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's a fighter. And for that, I absolutely respect that she probably has two spines, to be honest, because she's got so much spine. She's willing to call out the establishment, the Republicans, the Democrats. Unfortunately, you got too many Republicans that just sit on their hands and do nothing as everything burns to the ground. And I mean that somewhat literally. We're going to get a January 6th commission, a big, stupid waste of our time, something I don't care about. January 6th was not the apocalypse. It was not an insurrection. It was a violent riot in some parts, and it was peaceful in other parts. Many of the people who showed up were doting about confused. The police were fanning them in. And in other parts, they were brutally beating cops. So sure, it's bad. But we're now going on we're at 4.5 months after this. And I'm like, okay. Now they want to do a commission. Why? Because the Democrats just don't stop. They keep beating you over the head over and over again. They won't shut the up. And Republicans just sit there going, oh, I'm sorry. Tell them to cram it. I watched a video from, what is this Ohio guy, Tim Ryan. Wow, he's had enough. The video gets viewed 3 million times. Shut your stupid, pathetic mouth, Tim Ryan. You're a moron. I sit through a year of in 36 cities, fires and beatings and riots, and your spineless jellyfish face doesn't say anything. And Kamala Harris bails these people out, soliciting donations for them. Joe Biden's staff does it. And what do we get? Well, my friends, I guess the big problem we have is very few people of principle exist. Look at journalism. I say one of the biggest problems we have is that no one has scruples anymore. It used to be that you would do something wrong and you would worry. Did I make a mistake? Not anymore. That's not how journalism works these days. Now they just make a mistake. And then when someone says, can you correct this? They go, shut your mouth, you pathetic pleb. As if the poors can tell me how to change my article when I'm wrong. Well, thank God for people like James O'Keefe, who's filing lawsuit after lawsuit, because that guy's got like 12 spines and he's going to war against the machine. James O'Keefe probably should run for office because we need somebody who's actually going to stand up. And I know a lot of people said the same thing about me, but I'm not. Maybe the problem is the system itself, because while James O'Keefe probably would win on our Republican ticket, I certainly wouldn't win on any ticket. So I'm like, what's the point? This is the problem with tribalism. You've got hardcore Republicans who they would rather support a spineless jellyfish or terrestrial snail who's a Republican with Republican bona fides before they would support someone like me who's more moderate. And maybe rightly so, I suppose, because that's kind of the point. They don't want to give in on certain ideas they don't agree with. But then you end up with this. Now we get to deal with more stupid cockamamie BS. It's going to be months. They're going to be bringing people in and testifying. This is the worst attack we've ever seen. Shut up, you losers. I'm so sick of all of this stuff. And I am just mostly sick of the Republican Party. You know why? Oh, I can be mad. I can lay fault at the feet of the Democrats for being duplicitous scumbags. But special shout out to Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. I mean, yeah, those people certainly take the cake as well. I can look at AOC driving around in her Tesla, $60,000 car, parking it illegally in front of a Whole Foods. Great. Of the people, for the people, right. She doesn't know anything about, most of these people just offer up empty platitudes, no real solutions, and they manipulate, and stupid people vote for it. Well, people are allowed to be stupid. Makes it a big challenge when you want to win these elections. But here's the thing. I can lay the fault at the feet of the Democrats for only so long. Because now I look at Republicans and I say, okay, guys, okay, you've seen what they're doing. You've seen what they will do. You see the fires and the destruction. What have you got for me? I'd like to side with the Democrats on this one, actually. Okay. So who's stupid enough to vote for these people? That's the problem, man. Makes me awfully pessimistic. And I have to wonder if a lot of other people have just gone full pessimist as well. I mean, think about it. Imagine you're somebody who's fighting every day and you're speaking out and you're watching this stuff and you're saying it must stop. And you make a bunch of money. And then eventually you're like, I can't do anything, so might as well join the evil people and just give up. I'm sure a lot of people do that. Now, fortunately for me, I have scruples. When I make a mistake and people email me like, yo, you made a mistake, I'm like, oh man, did I? And then like I go in and I'm like meticulous, I got to make sure I fix this. And I'll put corrections. I'll be like, there's even times where I'll make a video and then I'll stop and think, was my point clear enough? Or did it sound too much like I said this? I'll put a clarification in just in case. I got no problem being wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But you look at the news media, they will absolutely lie, cheat, and steal for power. And that's why they fit in so well with Democrats. And that's the problem we have in this country. It used to be, or maybe it didn't used to be, but maybe we think it used to be, that people would be like, I'm worried about offending the sensibilities of my fellow countrymen. Today, they don't care at all. AOC does not care. She would burn the whole place to the ground if it got her more money. And you think it's not about money? Money and power, fine. Maybe it's not money, but it's certainly power. That's why AOC says garbled nonsense. And the Green New Deal is just woke garbage. This is what we get. Axios reports. The House of Representatives voted 252 to 175 on Wednesday to pass a bill to set up a bipartisan 9/11 style commission to investigate the deadly January 6th Capitol riots. Deadly. Sure. The only people that actually died from the riot were rioters. One woman got shot. Why it matters. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and GOP leadership opposed the commission. Great. But 35 House Republicans voted in support of the bill, underscoring the fault lines within the party in the aftermath of the insurrection. I love how Tim Ryan, when he's ranting about this in this viral video, he's like, you chased the Secretary of State around for a year or whatever, and you can't even get a bipartisan. Are these the same people? How many people retired, you idiot? God, people are so stupid. They're like, the Republican Party did this. The Republican Party is different today than it was 4 years ago. Tons of these people retired. I get it. You got McConnell, you got Lindsey Graham, you got a bunch of feckless losers, terrestrial snails. Well, to Mitch McConnell's defense, he is a turtle and turtles have spines, but they're rather slow and ineffective when it comes to a battle, right? So there you go. The Republican Party is not the same thing it was. And they attack people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Listen, these Democrats are not playing with reality. Oh, they'll tell you you're not playing with reality. Now, of course, there are certainly Trump supporters not playing with reality. The Q stuff was just off the rails. It's really frustrating hearing like, today's the day, and then nothing happens, and tomorrow's the day, and then nothing happens, and well, next week, and then nothing happens. Like, dude, at a certain point, just stop, sit back and wait and see what happens. So you get crazies across the board, but the Q people have no institutional power. The Russiagate lunatics are in the Democratic Party, and the Republicans don't do anything. In fact, Republicans were actually defending the Democrats in 2016 against 2017 in the Russiagate stupidity. This is what happens. A Democrat walks up and goes, I believe insane, garbled nonsense that the media lied about, and I demand this. And then you get a Republican who's like, well, to be fair, let's go ahead and give them what they want. And then we all just sit back and everything's on fire. That's what you get with the Republican Party. And people are like, we're going to keep voting for the Republicans. Oh, okay, so shout out, right? Obviously, there are a few, but I just don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I care to vote for any of these people. I certainly want the system to be fixed. I don't want this is, let me just clarify real quick. January 6th was not the apocalypse. All right, I know I said that a moment ago. Not the apocalypse. Can we just move on with our lives? You see, they complain about the Q people not moving on. But the Q people aren't in Congress right now demanding a commission. Oh, sure, there's people in Maricopa County doing an audit. But that's an audit. I don't care. So let them do it. Now, the Democrats at the federal level want to do a commission on a one-time. They won't let it go. So it's disproportionate. All right. If you want to complain about the audits that are happening, sure, whatever. If you want to complain about January 6th, fine. But is this it? Is this where we are? All trapped permanently by these morons in January 6th? We can never leave? The media wants this because they need ratings. They need shock content. And with Trump gone, this is the best they could muster up. And Republicans, being, for the most part, spineless losers, save for like 10 of them, just go along with it. Great. Now, it really wouldn't have mattered anyway because the Democrats control the House. So they mentioned it was 35 Republicans who voted in support of the bill. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has promised the bill will get a vote, but it's still unclear how many Republicans will get on board. Maybe Manchin will say F off. Yeah, we'll see. Or, okay, 10 GOP senators are needed for the proposal to pass. At the very least, we have that, I guess. And that's played up as the excuse to support the Republicans. You know, I had Sean Parnell on the Tim Castaro podcast the other night. Great dude. You know, glad to have him on the show. Interesting talk about. And I hope for him, he's running for the Senate in Pennsylvania. And we did make the point that if the Democrats get in, they'll burn it to the ground even more. But I was still mad. And I'm like, so what? So we vote for Republicans so they can just be a speed bump? Is that it? Yes. That's the Republican Party slogan. A speed bump for Democrats. We slow them down a little bit, but then give in and give them whatever they want. That's why people voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a human Molotov cocktail smashing into the system. You need to vote out. Go in the primaries. This is what every single one of you needs to do. Democrat and Republican alike. Go into your primaries and get rid of these people. Vote for someone else. Sean Parnell is going to be running in the Republican primary in Pennsylvania. Vote for him. Get rid of these establishment, neocon, just pro-war garbage Democrats. These 35 people, they're clearly Democrats. Kinzinger is clearly a Democrat. The guy is not a Republican. Come on. It's really funny how easy it is to pull the wool over Republican voters' eyes. Did you hear about the trans Satanist anarchist who won the Republican primary? It was up in New Hampshire, I think, because the Republicans walked in and went, I'll just press the R button over and over again. Congratulations. You have no idea who you're voting for, and you vote for morons like McConnell and Lindsey Graham, and you get people like Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. Maybe the tides will turn, after Trump. The GOP is expected to win big in 2022. And okay, do I care? What? So who's my choice? We get bandit, Democrat, thief, liar, who is wielding a torch, flaming arrows, and has a bloody grin, ready to just burn everything to the ground. And then you have a hunchback little, Republican being, please don't do it. Is that what I'm supposed to vote for? It feels like a big waste of my time. Now, I guess you could always go in the primaries, and that's where you might find someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Though I certainly don't agree with a lot of the things she has posted. She apologized for them, so I'll respect that. I can certainly respect that she is walking and wielding multiple spines. She slams the commission in the Capitol riot as a ruse to smear Trump. Republicans turn on 35 House GOP rebels who voted for Democrats' bill that is unlikely to pass the Senate. You ever see that movie, This Is the End? It's hilarious. It's got a bunch of dumb people in it because they post really dumb things like, Seth Rogen, for instance. But it was really funny when, what's that guy's name? Who's the guy? I don't know, whatever. I can't remember any of their names. Danny McBride. And he's got dude actor as his gimp or whatever. That's how I imagine these Republicans. They're just like, Democrats, we're scared. What should we do? And the Democrats are like, shut your mouth and drop to your knees. And they're like, yes, okay. And then you have a bunch of other Republicans who are sitting there going, oh no, what do? I want to give the Democrats whatever they want, but then people won't vote for me. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't do that. Donald Trump didn't do that. That's why people liked him. So what? This is what we have to look forward to? A bunch of people waking up to the lies of the system and the media, and not in the crazy way, believing in flat earth or whatever. I mean, like people genuinely being like, hey, the media is lying to me, and more people every single day realizing it. And then who do we get to vote for? Because Republicans going to Republican voters, most of them, most of them are probably just going to slap the R and not even know who they're voting for. Democrats will just slap the D and not know who they're voting for. But the people they vote for are ravenous lunatics. They want to burn it to the ground. They want you dead. They want you out. They want you gone. They support the violence. I know maybe it's hyperbolic to say they want you dead, but look at what happened the past year. 30 plus people died in periphery to the riots around, I believe, a dozen or two directly from the riots, or maybe it was like 19. They burned down a pawn shop and a body was found in the rubble. A police officer, a retired police captain, was responding to an alarm at his friend's pawn shop and took a bullet to the chest. The man named Aaron Danielson was gunned down by a man with the Black Lives Matter communism red salute tattoo. Did we get a commission? No, we were told by the FBI that white supremacy is the biggest threat to this country. And do we have anyone doing anything about it? Small handful of people. Are they doing enough? Probably not. And then you got a lot of dumb people who don't know what to do and do dumb things, which is how you get January 6th. And therein lies the problem. Republican leadership is an oxymoron. Democrat leadership, not so much, because they're more of an amorphous blob of chaos, like fire. So it's not required that they have a leader when they're just burning and expanding. Republicans need leadership, of which they have none. And let's be real, Donald Trump was far from a good leader. He was a fighter. People wanted him for that. And he was considered to be like the leader of the Republican Party because people got behind him. But he was, unfortunately, ineffective. He didn't have enough tact to actually deal with the media and these problems. And he tried playing into it too much. And don't give me that excuse where it's like, but the media was lying all the time. Yeah, no, duh, they lie all the time. Learn how to play the game properly. Donald Trump didn't really do that, but he fought. And that's better than nothing. And then, Trump policies were all right. I thought it was worth voting for. We don't have fighters defending this nation anymore. We have extractors. We have two political parties that are just extracting everything. We have a wealthy elite class that is extracting your savings and your worth. They print money to steal from you and then buy hard assets and watch you burn to the ground. There is not going to be prosperity moving forward in the future. I mean, we're a wealthy nation for sure. But when you're a nation of self-interested and liars and spineless jellyfish, then you need to start taking care of yourself, building culture and community in your local areas. You need to start setting up meetings and gathering up people to get involved in local affairs. And from the ground up, build a grassroots movement and ignore the stupid game. What did I see today? I can't remember exactly what I was looking at, but it was like, oh yeah, lab leak. Yeah, the lab leak hypothesis. Conservatives and people like me, were talking about this last year, like, oh, it's interesting. And the media and the Democrats said it was a crazy conspiracy theory, and conservatives are like, okay. Now that they're finally starting to entertain it in the mainstream media, conservatives are like, see, we told you. They don't care. They're not playing the game with you. Imagine being so stupid to sit down to a game of Monopoly where the other player is like constantly stealing money from the bank. And you're like, hey, I saw you steal money. And they're like, so? And you go, okay. I'd be like, I ain't going to play the game anymore, dude. You want to do that? I'm done. Put it back or I quit. You can't quit. You have to. No, I can't quit. I'll go do something else. That's what people need to do. Something else. What I mean by that is make shows, set up community meetings, Go to open mic night. Hold political events in your areas. Get to the local issues and say, I'm not going to pay attention to these losers anymore. Stop voting for these spineless Republicans. Each and every one of these 35 House GOP members needs to have a protest right now in their area, calling them terrestrial snails. You're here on the ground, but I don't see a spine. And vote them out. It's unfortunate for us. There's too many people who just don't care. And that makes it hard to care. It makes it hard. It's like, Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill. The only problem is we're slowly being pushed down the hill. And you got all these people sitting around picking their nose, and you're like, bro, help me. This is going to fall. It's going to slam into the dam and flood the town. And they're like, I don't know. I don't want to. And the Democrats are like, we should push from the other side. And like, no. Well, we'll get paid a lot of money by the enemies of our country. And the Republicans are sitting there, and there's like 10 of them like, I'll help. It's like 10. And the rest of them are just like picking their nose. And then 35 of them are like, I'm going to go push you down the hill. It's like, okay, fine. At a certain point, you just want to give up and say, let the boulder crash into the dam and flood the town because I cannot keep pushing this boulder by myself. I'm sure that's how Donald Trump felt. And then he didn't get any support. Even Mike Pence wouldn't support him. That guy was also spineless. Nobody wants to confront the problem because they're scared and self-interested. Imagine what the founding fathers would think if they saw where we were today. Man, they were legit. They were serious. Well, countries only last for so long. We'll see what happens to this one. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.